Hey folks, we're here at Arbor View House, Bed and Breakfast, located at 8900 Main Road in East Marion, New York. We're here with innkeeper and owner Wilfred, and this is Real Estate Our Way.
Clear the way, clear the way, clear the way when the bamboo come to play. Clear the way, clear the way, clear the way when the bamboo play, mama. Clear the way, clear the way, clear the way when the bamboo play, mama. Clear the way, clear the way, clear the way when the bamboo play, mama.
Hey folks, as always, thanks for watching. Please remember to hit the like and subscribe buttons. Also, follow us on Instagram and stay tuned for the real estate tip coming up later in the show.
Wilfred, thank you for having us. Might say it's beautiful out here. On our way in, we got a nice view, took some nice shots, and it's very peaceful. But the one thing that I want to know is what made you and your wife decide to start up a bed and breakfast?
It's a very interesting question. I first came out here in '86. At the time of my life when I was very stressed, and I came out here to do yoga.
Oh.
And I had a friend who had a house in Shelter Island, which is the island between the North Fork and the Hamptons.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a wonderful weekend. And I came into Greenport, and in those days I was running marathons, and I went for a run.
Mm-hmm.
Ran into Greenport, and I went out and came out here to heading to Orient. And I thought, my God, it's more beautiful than I thought, because I had seen Shelter Island, I had seen Greenport, and the further east I went, the prettier it seemed to get. We weren't married at the time, but she was also coming out with her sister separately. And then several years later, it's a long story, but several years later her sister bought a house and asked me if I would take a look at it. And I did, and it was right here in East Marion across the street. Her sister opened a bed and breakfast across the street, Quintessentials. And, you know, we had fun. I was retired, I was out here all the time. They came out on the weekends, my wife cooked, and we had fun. We had lots of parties, we invited friends, we had guests, and it was really a nice life. And one Sunday afternoon after the guests had left, we were sitting on the porch drinking iced tea and feeling proud of ourselves. So we said, you know what? We should do this again. We got this thing down. We know how to do this. So we started looking around. Post office, we can't buy that. We looked around across the street. That house is ugly. That house, nah. Angel is not gonna sell our house. Nah. We probably look somewhere else. And my wife said, let's look at that house. So we came and we said to the guy who owned the house, Jerry, and we said, Jerry, we want to buy a house. He said, it took a year.
So what was your background before you opened the bed and breakfast?
The many lives of Wilfred. I'm trained as an electrical engineer.
Okay.
When I was a kid, I wanted to invent things. And then one day I came to my mother and I told her everything has been invented. I was 11. And she says, yes, my child, but you go ahead and invent something else. And I was like, I don't know. Anyway, I love things. I loved electronics. And when I first came to America, I had a degree from Guyana in electrical engineering, but I didn't know anything about computers.
Okay.
So I decided to go back to school and learn computers. So that was my specialty. I never practiced it. I never was in a lab. I hated it. I hated being in an office. So I went into sales.
Oh, okay.
So I sold cosmetics, pharmaceuticals, I sold computer services. I worked for a big pharma. I was with Honeywell, and then I left Honeywell and I decided I wanted to design the job of my life. I wanted to work for the best company in computers at the time, which was Digital Equipment Corporation. It was the second largest computer. It was a $14 billion company back in the 80s.
Wow.
And I just created a job, and there it was, exactly like I wanted it, and I was happy. And I did that for about 12 years, and then I retired.
So Wilfred, what would you say is the most challenging and the most rewarding aspect of running a business like this?
Well, first of all, you won't believe it, but my wife and I decided that when we started the bed and breakfast, not only were we going to do things differently, but we were going to have the best guests. So we had an intention of having good guests. The second intention is that we were going to do two things really well: bed and breakfast. And we were going to do it better than anybody else. So we attract good people. So in terms of challenging things, we live in an old house. This house was built around 1790. And as a result, it has some of the challenging that an old house has. You know, it has a little arthritis, gets a little cold every now and then. It doesn't like cold weather, you know. And I think the most challenging thing is keeping up with the house, with the plumbing and with the electrical, and the various and sundry things, you know, trees, branches dropping in storms and things like that. We've had a few challenging guests. I swear I could name them on this one hand. Mainly because they were so outstanding in a negative way. But 99.5% of the guests are amazing. The reward that we get is, first of all, the kind of personality that goes into this kind of business has to like people. You know, you have to be willing to deal with all kinds of people. We've had princes, we've had paupers, we've had people who couldn't afford a night stay here that we put up. We've had musicians, artists, we've had full in our 25 years of business. We've had every kind of people with all kinds of personalities.
Yes.
But I find people interesting. So if you find people interesting, their quirks, like I have my own quirks, makes it fun. You know, it's fun to get to know people, to find out that, you know, they don't eat mangoes, my favorite food.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, we have a guest coming this weekend. She is anaphylactically allergic to mangoes and kiwi.
Oh wow.
I'm sorry for her. Mango is my favorite fruit. I mean, you know, what a curse.
Well, growing up in Guyana, you know, eating mangoes like it's no tomorrow.
Yeah. Some of my best memories are stealing mangoes from people's trees as a child. So you know, I love people. It's why I'm doing this. It's why we've been doing this for as long as we are. I mean, you know, we don't have a retirement date because we have fun. We're still having a good time doing it. You know, we enjoy people. My wife is an excellent cook, and she gets joy in making people happy through food. There's so much love and care, and she is a natural. She's just, I mean, I come from a family of good cooks, but I tell you, I've never seen anybody cook like her. She cooks naturally. It's like she looks at the food and she knows what to put it in.
That's true. Sometimes, you know, you get food and you can tell if it was cooked with love or if they just hurried it and like just wanted to get it on a plate. Yeah. You know, you can taste it. You can taste it. You can really taste it. You know.
And that's the difference. When people stay here, they really get that we care about them.
Wilfred, you have a beautiful home. I'm dying to know, what are some of the amenities you offer here?
Well, it's a bed and breakfast. So we start out with a good bed and an amazing 3-course breakfast.
Oh,
I want to tell you about our beds. I know for a fact that none of the bed and breakfasts or hotels in this area, and you'd have to search really high to find the quality of beds that we have. I research beds. You know, you see mattress commercials all the time, and then buy my bed, let's get some of these. And I tell you, it's very complicated because they don't tell you the whole truth.
Oh.
Yeah. But needless to say is that we have some of the most expensive and some of the best beds. And then in addition to that, we have quality sheets and linens, towels. We were the first to offer water to our guests. Remember, this is 20 years ago. Most B&Bs do it now. We were the first to offer a 3-course breakfast. We were the first to offer breakfast, you know, on the deck.
Oh, nice.
We were the first, and still one of the few in the country to eat with our guests.
Oh,
now, that was interrupted with COVID, but and I don't know if we'll do it again. But it's something we used to do. But mostly the amenities are in the room. Each room has smart TV, and I being into electronics, make sure that there's USB outlets for the phones. People come and they plug all their devices in the phone, their laptop, their iPad. We have bathrobes and slippers. And again, with COVID, we pulled back on those things because we pulled back on so many things because it was much simpler to be able to provide a place that was not so much uniform but sanitized. It was much more difficult in sanitation purposes. But we have, when we eat, we use, you know, people talk about fine china, but we do have fine china. And we do have silverware, and it's antique. We bought it at an antique store, some rich person's expensive silverware, which we have to polish occasionally to keep it good. But the amenities basically in the room are, you know, like I said, it's, they get some water, they get a nice bed. In some rooms there's a refrigerator, there are fireplaces in all the rooms. We have a deck that this suite, the champagne suite, comes with. You can sit outside.
Oh, nice.
And I'm sure I'm leaving something out, but that's about it.
Jacqueline, why is it important for buyers to conduct an inspection at the beginning of the purchasing process?
Okay, so we normally advise our clients, once your offer is accepted, to schedule that inspection right away. And a home is the largest purchase you will make in your lifetime. Why would you not have the protection of a home inspection? People purchase cars all the time, but they never purchase a car without doing a test drive, and it's the same thing with a home. You want to make sure that the major arteries of that home, like the roof, the boiler, the plumbing, the electrical, is in good working condition, so you can make a decision whether or not you want to purchase this property or not. So the home inspection is really about transparency, knowing the issues with the home. And we tell our buyers, no home is perfect. Every home has issues, especially an older home. We find things that's pretty typical for an older home. But you want to know about those issues so you can make an intelligent decision about this major purchase in your lifetime.
So what types of things do you focus on during an inspection?
So cosmetic stuff we're not concerned about. We don't care about missing doorknobs, cracks in the walls, things of that nature. We're concerned about the major arteries of the home, and that's the roof, the plumbing, the electrical, the boiler, the hot water heater, all those things, the foundation. We want to look to make sure that there are no issues with the foundation. Those are the major arteries of the home, and those are the things that we focus on. One of the areas that we like to look at in particular is really the plumbing. We like to turn on the water in all the bathrooms, the kitchens. We want to see how the pipes manage with all the water going down. We use an apparatus called the infrared scan, and we scan the pipes to make sure that there are no tiny little leaks or there are no issues with water escaping from those pipes, because people tend to use the water in their home, but they never open up the cabinets and look at the pipes while the water is running. So a lot of times we find telltale leaks under the pipes with the plumbing.
Wilfred, what advice would you give to a budding entrepreneur?
Yes, all the things I wish I had known when I started in the business.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, first of all, research your industry. Know your industry.
Okay.
Whether it's something you're going to be doing online, which seems to be the craze these days,
Right.
or brick and mortar like this is. The important thing is that you know what you're getting into. Rome is not built in a day. It takes a while.
Okay.
Most businesses fail in the first 5 years.
Right. Understood.
And they fail because people really didn't understand what it meant and the intricacies. Dealing with financing, understanding money, understanding your market, understanding your customers. To me, it seems that everybody feels like if they have an idea and they put it on Instagram, they're gonna get rich or make a YouTube video. But even those people on Instagram and YouTube, trust me, they've worked really, really hard. They've been at it, they've mastered it.
Right.
So it doesn't matter what it is that you're doing, make sure you get into it, you're excited about it,
Right.
you know what you want to do, and then study it. Learn from the masters. Get yourself into a group of people who've been in the business before, like-minded people.
Okay.
And then, of course, something I hear about, and I took for granted, mindset. The mindset of, okay, I'm going to be successful.
So Wilfred, where can customers find you?
Well, customers can find me on my website,
Uh-huh.
which is arborviewhouse.com.
Okay. Excellent.
That's Arbor with an A.
Uh-huh.
And they can find me on Google, of course. If you Google Bed and Breakfast Long Island or Bed and Breakfast on the North Fork or East Marion. Or you could just Google Bed and Breakfast Wilfred, and you'll find me. But I'm on the usual sites like TripAdvisor, Booking.com.
Okay.
But if you find me on Booking.com or Travelocity or Expedia, call me directly. I'll give you a better price.
Excellent. Like that. Wilfred, thank you so much for accommodating us. It was a pleasure.
It was my pleasure too.
Thank you so much.
I really appreciate this.
Okay, wonderful.